Excellent. We're here with Alan Rance, Managing Director of Midas Pattern Company. We've been talking through a range of different things. We started off talking about the Midas Green Initiative, and then some things that sort of unpack that green initiative. So we've talked about single-use plastics, we've talked about plastic-free packaging, and we've touched on carbon and net zero as well. I'm really interested in two elements. How do you help get the most out of the plastic material? So how can you help customers extend the life, if you like, of their plastic products that you're making for them? And then secondly, what's the end of life for a plastic product, a hard plastic product that you're making, that sort of polyurethane?
Okay, a couple of things I'll say first. First of all, the climate crisis is not caused by plastic. The climate crisis has been caused by burning fossil fuels. Mm. So the reality is, plastics in some cases are an essential part of life and they're not going to go away. Mm. When we began the Midas Green Initiative in 2019, we decided that as a plastics manufacturer, we had to take very seriously our use of earth chemistry. So we decided that we would not take on any work or be involved with anything that wasn't either life-saving or life-enhancing. So to that end, we only make medical device enclosures, analytical housings, any scientific equipment that's going to be used for drug discovery or chemical analysis. We make sure that every application for the mouldings that we produce is going to enhance human life and is not going to be frivolous. So once we're at that point and we're only making things which make a positive difference, we then think about the way that we use our material. And I think if we consider how we can make a moulding and give it the longest possible lifespan, then obviously we work very closely with the designers that produce these shapes and forms that create the parts that enshroud these medical devices. We encourage optimization through the design for manufacture phase, wherein we remove as much material as we can. We optimize the design to make it as strong as we can whilst being as light as we can. But also we try to encourage customers to reuse and repurpose. So for instance, a product may have a 10-year lifespan. We're very happy and we encourage customers to return those mouldings to Midas at end of life. For a full respray, a rebrand, or even modification so that they can be used again. We also ensure that customers understand that at the end of life complete, they can return those mouldings to Midas and we will recycle them. Because as you quite rightly say, polyurethane is a thermosetting material. It can't be recycled back into its original form. It can only be used as a ground bulk filler for other product. And so what we do is we encourage customers to release those mouldings to us. We'll go and collect them on our electric vehicles, return them back to Midas free of charge, and we'll then grind those mouldings, turn it into a granule filler, and then we'll run it through our own recycling process where we're rebinding those polyurethane granules to make simple forms, particularly like paving slabs, where we can produce 100% carbon-free paving slab that can be used for multiple years in the normal way and then recycled again, and that can potentially be recycled indefinitely. So by using plant-based binders, polyurethane granules, we're actually producing something which has a zero carbon footprint in a zero carbon environment, and we think that's particularly responsible.
So without sort of getting into here's a moulding, here's an example of a moulding. It's nice and white and shiny and all that sort of thing. There is a few marks on this, obviously.
Well, this has actually come back for us to grind and recycle. So this is actually an end-of-life component that is ready to be reused.
Because this material, as you say, it's set. It's going to be like that forever. When we're dead and gone in 5,000 years' time, this will still exist in this form. Is what we're saying. So unless we do something to it, like we grind it up. But for a manufacturer, for one of your customers, what we're saying is that you could take this back. So this is this shape now. If they enhance their product and then they build a little module or something on the top of it, or they put some sort of, another section on it, you could bring the molding, the mold tool that you're making this from, you could adapt that, and then you can extend the life of, or you could get this back, you can make some adaptations, and then you could use part of this again in a refurbished.
That's absolutely right. Yeah,
Okay.
we will always have an open mind in how we can reuse something rather than need to recycle it.
Yeah.
And we'll work very closely with our customers and their designers to try and make that happen as much as we can. It's part of being responsible.
And at the same time, if they just want exactly that again, then you could take that back in that condition, you could make some repairs to it, you could then repaint it, and it would go out bright, shiny and new, exactly as if it was a new moulding as well.
And it should be said that this particular moulding is part of a 3-part set that produces a medical device which is used for patient body cooling during cancer treatment, cancer therapy. It's a fantastic application, a fantastic product. We have these instruments rolling around hospitals all over the country and further afield. They get banged into doorways, they get knocked on trolleys and gurneys, they get damaged. And of course, our customer doesn't want their product to look damaged.
Yeah.
So of course they'll take them out of service and they'll send them back to us. We'll give them a full refurbish and back they go again. So rather than just throwing them away and replacing it with a new product, we will give them a new lease of life. Once again, it's being a green, responsible manufacturer that encourages us to do that, and we encourage our customers to do that because we want everybody to play their part in making the world a greener place.
So that's reusing that exact sort of thing to go back out. And then you were just saying around let me just stand that up. You've got, so here we have a bag of, at the risk of getting very dusty, here's a bag of, not flour, but this is ground up PU.
Yep.
So is this something you've always done? You've always ground it up, or is that a new process that you've just put in place?
Okay, so up until about 18 months ago,
yeah,
all of our waste polyurethane went off to be burnt for refuse derived fuel.
Right.
Because obviously it was either in the form of tooling board that we use within our pattern making process, or it was within the form of waste polyurethane mouldings and the yield from the process. We didn't have anything we could do with that, so we sent it off to be burnt. That was the only option. We felt that was the most responsible thing, because at least we then derived some power
energy from it. Yeah.
Exactly. About 18 months ago, I decided that all of this polyurethane waste could no longer leave Midas, and I've been stockpiling it ever since. Just over a year ago, we invested in a huge industrial grinding machine so that we could granulate all of those materials. So everything from the 0.7 density tooling board right the way through to the 1.3 density polyurethane we make our mouldings from has been granulated. Now, historically, there's only ever been 2 uses for ground polyurethane. One is a bulk filler in cementitious product, and the other is a material to reconstitute for other processes. We have taken the decision that we will focus on reconstitution. So we have this process whereby we glue all these granules back together with a plant-based binder, and we turn them into a paving slab, so that we can actually replace something which is made of concrete, which has a huge carbon footprint, with something that has a 0 carbon footprint. And we believe that that's demonstrating fully circular manufacturing, a fully sustainable long-term process, which is eminently recyclable. We can go through this process over and over.
So you can just go through that again and again. So if that wears, then it can be replaced, and it's just exactly the same.
That.
So you can pull that up. So it's never going to go to landfill, because it can just be reused and reused and reused.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. Alan, thank you for those 2 answers. So yeah, about extending the life, and then about the end of life of a plastic product.